Once upon a time, in a small village in a remote part of the country, there was a wise and respected Zen master named Zenko. He was known throughout the village for his deep knowledge of Zen philosophy and his ability to guide others on the path to enlightenment. Zenko had spent many years traveling across the country, teaching and spreading the teachings of Zen. He had met many types of people on his journey and had learned valuable life lessons from each encounter. One day, while Zenko was resting under a large tree, a young man named Mark approached him. Mark had heard much about Zenko's profound wisdom and decided to visit him to seek solutions to the problems he was facing in his life. Mark was deeply troubled by the people around him who did not appreciate him and often treated him poorly. He sought guidance to find true happiness and contentment. Zenko greeted Mark with a warm smile and invited him to sit beside him. Once settled, Mark opened his heart to Zenko, sharing his difficulties and the pain he felt from those who did not appreciate him. Mark asked Zenko to help him identify genuine and sincere people in his life to alleviate his inner pain. Zenko began to tell him a story about 5 types of people from whom he should distance himself and whom he should never befriend, in order to find peace and joy in life. Once there was a young man named Paul who lived in a bustling city. Paul had many friends and enjoyed spending time with them, engaging in various activities. However, over time, he began to notice that some of his friends were negatively influencing him. The first type of people Paul realized he needed to distance himself from were gossipers. These friends were always engaged in idle talk, spreading rumors and creating negativity. Paul discovered that every time he spent time with them, his mind filled with useless things and harmful thoughts. So he made a conscious decision to avoid them and began focusing on cultivating positive relationships. The second type of people Paul decided to avoid were critics. These friends always had something negative to say about others, constantly finding faults and criticizing their actions. Paul soon realized that this constant negativity was affecting his view of life. He understood the importance of surrounding himself with people who uplifted and inspired him, rather than dragging him down with continual criticism. The third type of person Paul chose to distance himself from was the manipulator. This friend had the habit of distorting situations to serve their own interests, often at the expense of others. Paul noticed that every time he spent time with this friend, he felt drained and used. Recognizing the toxic nature of this friendship, he decided to let it go and prioritize his own well-being. The fourth type of person Paul understood he needed to let go was the envious. This friend was always comparing themselves to others, feeling constantly inadequate and resentful of their success. Paul realized that true happiness comes from appreciating and celebrating the achievements of others. He knew that surrounding himself with people who supported and encouraged him would foster a sense of fulfillment and gratitude. Finally, the fifth type of person Paul realized he needed to distance himself from was the doubter. This friend would always doubt Paul's abilities and dreams, casting a shadow of uncertainty over his aspirations and ambitions. Paul recognized the importance of having friends who believed in him and his potential. He realized that surrounding himself with positive and supportive people would help him build self-confidence and achieve great things in life. As Zenko finished the story, Mark sat in deep contemplation. He understood the wisdom in Zenko's words and grasped the importance of wisely choosing his friends. He thanked Zenko for his guidance and enlightenment, pledging to reflect on these 5 types of people to avoid in order to find true happiness and fulfillment in his life. From that day forward, Mark embarked on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. He carefully assessed his friendships, seeking to cultivate those that brought positivity and inspiration, gradually distancing himself from those that hindered his progress. Over time, he found himself surrounded by a circle of friends who shared his values and supported his aspirations. Together, they walked the path of righteousness, helping each other to rise along the way. The story of Zenko and Mark serves as a timeless reminder that in our lives we must be aware of the types of people we surround ourselves with, letting go of gossipers, critics, manipulators, the envious, and the doubters. We create space for positive influence and cultivate an environment that has a profound and life-changing impact on our lives. We can all find the strength to choose our friends wisely and walk the path of true happiness and enlightenment. As Mark continued his journey of self-discovery, he became increasingly in tune with Zenko's teachings. He realized that true happiness and contentment come not only from choosing the right friends, but also from cultivating positive qualities within himself. Inspired by Zenko's wisdom, Mark sought to embody the virtues of compassion, kindness, and mindfulness in his daily life. He devoted himself to the practice of meditation and deepening his understanding of true happiness and peace. Through these practices, Mark discovered a profound sense of inner peace and clarity. One day, while traveling through a nearby village, Mark came across a beggar sitting by the side of the road. The beggar was scruffy and seemed to have been ignored by many who passed by without a second glance, but Mark's compassionate heart urged him to stop and offer assistance. Mark approached the beggar with a warm smile and asked how he was doing and how he could help. The beggar looked up, surprised, as he was not used to such kindness. He hesitated for a moment and then said, "I have nothing but the clothes on my back. I am very hungry and have no shelter." Mark nodded and replied, "Don't worry, I will do my best to help you." From his bag, Mark pulled out some good food he had prepared for his journey of self-discovery. With a kind gesture, he offered the food to the grateful beggar. He then gave the beggar his own cloak to keep warm in the cold weather. The beggar was deeply moved by Mark's compassion and generosity. "You have shown me kindness when no one else would. Why do you do this?" asked the beggar. Mark smiled and replied, "In Zen teachings, I have learned that true happiness comes from altruism and compassion. By helping others in need, I cultivate inner joy and create positive ripples in the world around me." The beggar's eyes filled with tears as he embraced Mark with gratitude. From that day forward, the beggar vowed to change his ways and seek a righteous life. The story of Zenko and Mark serves as a timeless reminder that by wisely choosing our friends, cultivating positive qualities within ourselves, and embracing compassion and kindness, we can create a profound impact on our lives and the lives of others. We are encouraged to reflect on Zenko's teachings, to choose our friends wisely, and to cultivate positive qualities within ourselves. In the end, the story leaves us with a sense of gratitude and a renewed commitment to walking the path of righteousness, spreading love and wisdom wherever we go. As we continue our journeys, we can carry the lessons of Zenko and Mark in our hearts, striving to be the best versions of ourselves and making the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time. Do you see yourself in the teachings of this story? Let me know in the comments. I wish you to live in peace forever and always welcome you here on the channel Il Segreto del Samadhi. Until the next video.